had a dream last night. Now, this was not a prophetic dream. In fact, the thought in it wasn't even original. I was sitting at a drive-thru in my dream, and the people asked me, "What name do you want to put on your order?" I said to them, "In Veritas, Libertas." It's kind of a strange name to put on something, but I think I'm going to actually make that my new family motto. Veritas, Libertas. It's Latin. In truth, freedom. Like I said, it's not an original concept. It's been kicking around for a couple thousand years now. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. These words jumped out at me. They've stuck in my head all day. Truth, you shall be free. We've been so concentrated in this country on right and left, throwing accusations and responding to accusations, and everybody's mad at each other. I just want to tell everyone, stop. Just stop. Just look. Open your eyes and look. Nobody wants their guy to be the guy who's messed it up. You know, on the right, we didn't want to see exactly the sorts of things that George Bush was doing with his Patriot Act. When he used the phrase, "I've abandoned the free market principles to save the free market." Come on. That's not conservative. That's not right-wing. It's time for us to take a look at exactly who he was, and there's a lot of things that he did that I'm okay with, but there's a lot of things like that, really important things, that we need to be honest about. We need to actually look at and be truthful towards. To those of you on the left, I know you don't want your guy, President Obama. I know you don't want him to be the guy who's wrecking things, who's stepping all over the Constitution, who's denying American citizens the things that they consider to be their birthright. I know you don't want him to be that guy. I understand it. But we have to start looking. We have to start being honest. And Veritas, Libertas. You have to have that truth if you're going to have the freedom. Just look at what's happening with Europe, for example. It's melting down. It's crashing. It's a referendum on exactly the sorts of big government, big corporation kind of things that we're talking about. Big corporations, they treat people like garbage, or statistics. You get a big corporation, they start saying things like the American market. Yeah, that's your home, man. You just relegated entire masses of people into some market to be exploited. It's our home. Those are people's lives. Big government? What's the difference? You hear all this talk about globalization. If we got trouble with big corporations here in the United States and elsewhere in the world, what do you think something on a global scale is going to be like? If you think that people that are 4,000 miles away in Washington, D.C., how can they possibly care about you individually? They can't. They can understand principles, but they're not even sticking to the principles of individual freedoms and liberties these days. Bottom line, just look at it. Look what's happening in Europe. That's a referendum for anybody that wants the government to be in charge of everything. They have that in Europe. They have it. They're still rolling with it. They've got everything that the social democracies, the straight socialism, the government managed healthcare. They got everything, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. They can't make it work. Big governments, big corporations, they suck at ruling. We have to look at the truth. To my friends on the right and the left, we got to stop being afraid at and offended at questions. Afraid of and offended at questions. We got to take a look and actually see things for what they are. We have to educate ourselves and follow the paths where that's going to lead us. You can't go looking for the truth when you've got some kind of agenda, or if you really don't want your guy to fail, or if you're afraid of what everyone else is going to think about you. You have to educate yourself. Back around the founding of this country, I remember reading something where somebody said that the founders of this country had tipped the concept of freedom into the spillways of human consciousness. We still have an opportunity to do that. We have an opportunity to stand up and say, hey, these guys that you're trusting to run everything for you, these people that are so eager to run everything in the world, they can't care about you. I know that they're going to say they care about you. It's a statistical impossibility. Big is bad. Individual rights and individual freedoms. That's the answer. Then everybody rises and falls on their own. We're not tied into everything else, especially proven historical failures. In Veritas, Libertas, the truth will set you free.